And welcome back to Twigger Time. My name is David Twigger, and we're here to talk about the special events and beyond. We usually focus on everything that happens in the special events, what motivates us behind the scenes, all the chaos and all the beauty and stuff that everybody sees in between. So we're very, very excited to have everybody back and going through here. Today, I couldn't be more excited because I've got one of the most real and one of the most experienced people in the industry, and somebody that I met right when I came back into Arizona, diving back into the hospitality industry in here when I came back into town, and have been working together ever since. So today we're so excited to have Amber Allen on the show. Say hello, Amber.
Hi.
Hey, we're so excited that you're here. The long 5-minute drive, was it from?
It was
from
horrible.
Work? Yeah.
Such a long drive.
We record actually here at Old Town Scottsdale. And obviously we have Amber here, who I will read the quick bio. Amber Allen, CPCE, is the president of the National Board of NACE. She's also the director of food and beverage at the Hotel Valley Ho in Scottsdale, Arizona. Amber is a nationally recognized leader in the catering and events industry with a passion for continuing education and helping the community grow and thrive. Did you write this or someone else wrote this?
Oh, of course I had someone help me. I suck at talking about myself.
It's lovely. It goes on and on about all the wonderful things. Amber holds the Certified Professional in Catering and Events designation. In her free time, she loves spending time with her husband, Brad, and her fur baby, Lucky Charm. Oh,
yeah, my baby.
That is so wonderful. Well, we're, again, applause. Amber deserves 2 applauses. We're so excited to have you here. And I said that because, honestly, I remember when I moved back into town from Los Angeles, I had been hired at Monte Lucia. And I was almost a year. I was supposed to be 3 months still in California, selling for Monte Lucia before it opened. And then they brought me back over here and I wanted to dive back into it. So I joined the table competition that NACE had. I think it was at the Buttes. Was it?
It was at the Buttes.
It was the Buttes. Yeah.
Gosh, that was a while ago.
Oh, I know. It was
a minute ago.
That was my.
We're still young. It's
I
fine.
know. It's all fine. That was one of my first. I dived into the whole tablescape competition thing, and it was so much fun. And the rest is history, as they say. So you've had a long career in hotels and hospitality, and also NACE, because we're going to get into both of those, obviously, because that's a big deal. But it's so exciting to have you here. So I ask everybody kind of just jump into and tell us a little bit more than what was on the bio. So tell us, how did you get into hospitality?
Definitely. Getting into hospitality was probably the best thing I've ever done. I was going to college for marketing and international studies. And
Where at?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I'm a Wisconsin girl, but
Nice.
I don't like cheese. I don't like beer. I hate the Packers.
Oh my gosh.
So they really kind of kicked me out.
We're going to get email.
It's okay.
We're going to get hate
Probably.
email.
Sorry, guys.
No cheese at all?
No. Well, I'll do a little bit of mozzarella and pizza, but that's about it. Little burrata. That's
we'll
about it.
We'll kind of just move past that part right now.
It's a good plan.
Got it.
But in Wisconsin, I worked for resorts, and I worked for a little dinner theater as a bartender, and I worked at Lake Lawn Resort as a bartender, and I interned in their marketing department, and I watched the salespeople, and I was like, this looks like a really fun job. And they told me, run, do not.
It was they tell you
do not.
What are you thinking?
They did, and I didn't listen.
No.
I didn't listen. So after I graduated college, I moved to Arizona just by myself. I had one friend out here. My grandpa was out here part-time, and I decided no more snow. You don't have to shovel the sunshine.
Yep.
So I was excited to come out here. Could not find a job in hotels to save my life.
Really?
So I applied everywhere. I was young. I didn't know anything. I didn't have a hospitality degree. I didn't know about NAU. If I had, oh goodness, I probably would have came out here for college. But then, I went back to Chicago because my old general manager, they were opening a property in Chicago right downtown. And he said, I have a position for you. I said, great, coming back. So I went back and worked in Chicago for a year.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Where at? Which hotel?
So it was called the Amalfi Hotel. It was a brand new build. It's now, I believe, Kinsey Street is the name of it. It was right across from Harry Carey's restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And I'm a Bears fan, Cubs fan. So I was like, yeah, Chicago. And then winter came. And
Reminded you of why?
yeah, it's really windy there. They don't call it the Windy City for nothing. No joke. So I would take the L into work every day and I would walk to the hotel, and it was absolutely miserable. And I'll never forget this. It was my birthday. So it was actually summertime, but I was getting on a boat for a cruise. It was my birthday. It was a team outing, and I called Michael Peterson in Curvaya.
Oh my goodness.
And he hired me for a job back out here in Phoenix. And he was one of my biggest mentors. And I stayed with him for about 5 years at the Wyndham downtown. And that started my whole journey to catering and events.
Wow. Well, I tell everybody it's an addicting industry. It's not going to make you super wealthy. It's not going to make you super famous, but it gets under your skin and you just can't.
It does. It's almost like an addiction.
It is. It totally is.
Oof. Yeah.
I went into the same thing. I was going to school for business. I didn't really know. I was up at NAU, and it was a thing. They just started the distance program where you could take all your NAU courses down in Phoenix and get your degree from NAU. You do it at SCSE, at Scottsdale Community College. If you don't know what that means, go artichokes. Same thing. It was too cold. My first semester up at NAU, I was like, no. What do you mean I can't put water in my, understand? So that didn't work out. It was hilarious. The stupid things of like this trudging through the snow. And it was just like, this is, I thought it'd be kind of cool because I never really experienced it. And it wasn't. So, but hospitality is just, it gets under your skin and it's amazing. So you've gone through all of those different pieces now, and you are now super fancy director of food and beverage. We're going to get into this.
Wow.
Because it's not going to the other side. Because when you're in catering convention services, the other side is sales, so I made that big jump one time. It's different. But we are going to get into a few other things. But let's go into like my corny questions that I ask everybody to start off with. And so we talk about special events. So if somebody says special events to you, define what you think of when somebody says special events.
Special events to me means a big, elaborate affair. And it's something that brings excitement to people and joy to people. I think weddings, I think galas, I think fundraisers as like big special events. There are a ton of events that happen, but for me, a special event is something that adds that wow factor and puts it over the top.
That's great. So here at Twigger Time, we say, every event is special because special events are, especially for us at Vermilion Events, we do a lot of really large events, thousands of people and stuff. But we talk about how we can take those things as special events. And if you see like an appetizer that you like, or you see like a linen or a color scheme, you can take that back. And if you're just doing a game night or people coming over to like cook or barbecue, whatever, you can kind of take that into your own life and make that event special, because you never know when somebody could be having a really bad day or somebody just needs to get out and like, kind of socialize and stuff like that. So we enjoy that. But a lot of times it is the same thing. It's just kind of like that wow factor. We love that because a wow factor can be done any other times. I made a couple of these questions, especially for you, Amber. So I hope you appreciate those. How do you balance the world of a hotel executive and the industry organization world when it comes to your events versus group events?
So, that is a fine balance and is a great question, by the way.
Because you've taken it to the top on both sides. It's a lot of people, are members of some of the industry organizations. And when I say that for Amber, it's because obviously she's she's president of the National NACE Board, and also, the director of food and beverage at the Hotel Valley Ho. So it's a lot to balance, especially as like the different ones grow. You may like stay like your position, but then you grow into like a higher position in the industry organization or the opposite. And you've done both. So how do you balance all that?
It really takes a minute to balance, and it takes definitely some organization in my life. And it takes understanding from both sides. It takes understanding from my boss at Hotel Valley Ho when I have to do some NACE events and when I travel and when I go and talk. Yes, thank you so much. He is the best. And then it takes some understanding also from my board on the NACE side, and when I'm a little bit tardy in responding to an email or I need a minute to get back to them because I'm in the middle of budget season right now and, life happens. So we try to make sure that we are helping each other with the balance, but understanding what are the key factors that we're trying to accomplish and prioritizing. So I've gotten really good at prioritizing.
I was going to say, what do you think the biggest mistake is when people try and balance that? Because it's a big thing. Like industry organizations are an important part, especially for trying to grow your career or just grow your own knowledge and stuff like that. And people sometimes can make big mistakes, and it'll hurt your career or it'll hurt your, place in the organization. So what's the big thing you think people tend to make a mistake of?
They don't ask for help. They don't raise their hand. They're you can't be afraid as you get higher and higher in organizations or in your career to say, I need help with this. I need someone to step in and help me do X, Y, or Z. If you can't delegate, if you can't own that, you can't do everything. We try
even
to
just
do
share
everything.
Especially with industry
right?
organizations. Like people think they have to take it all on.
Right.
But you can, that's why that's there, is to share all those things.
It is. And it doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you can't do the job. It doesn't mean you're not talented. It just, I love that. It just means you're confident and you're secure enough in what you do that you can say, at this moment, I need something. Yeah. I need a little bit of help.
And that's a big thing. That's actually when I watch people that work with me, because I never say for me, but with me, that's a growth step that I see. And at that point, I know that I can actually move them up or move it into something else. If they turn around and say, I can't get this done, or how do I get this done? Or do we have someone who can help with this? That means they're taking a look at it, not just trying to take it all on. Because it's so easy to do that. It's so easy in our industry to I need to do this and this and this. And you're going to take on 5 things that you really shouldn't, but you want to make the client happy. So you're going to do it anyways. You know that because I've seen you guys do it. So it's so easy to do that. So that's an amazing thing. So this one we're going to get into, and I want you to be 100% honest.
All right. That's hard.
Stepping or just completely lie. Either one's fine. So stepping into the world of food and beverage, how has that affected your view of events in the hotel world? Because some people may think that it's exactly the same, but it really is a different point of view from where you were. Because you were director of catering and conference services, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
It's been a year now that I've been in the director of food and beverage role. And
oh, wait.
Yeah, I like the song. Right.
I don't know how to turn that off.
We're just going to dance through it.
I hit the wrong one.
You don't want me serenading you people. Sorry.
I'm just going to turn that down because I don't know how to turn that on. I meant to do the golf clap. That's hilarious. We're not going to say the M word because we'll just leave that in because it's actually kind of funny. Go ahead.
Moving over to the food and beverage director side, it took me a while to take this leap. I've had other companies ask me to go into this position before, and I just wasn't ready. I love events. I love weddings. I love clients. I love selling. I love every part of that. Now moving into the food and beverage director is such a different perspective on things. I'm looking at food cost. I'm looking at liquor cost. I'm looking at what are we bringing in? What is the profit margin? Oh my gosh, the cost of orange juice is going up 5 million bajillion% right now. How am I going to handle that one? But it is a different mindset. What helps me is that I'm thankful. My team still allows me to be involved in some of the events, so I get the best of both worlds right now.
It is completely different where people think, catering was about food and beverage, but you're also talking about events and that side of it and the clients and things like that before. And now, because sometimes you'd walk in and be like, to the boss, hey, can we, they want a signature drink, but they don't want to pay $14 for it. Can we do it at $11? And it makes sense because they're going to order more and to make the client happy. But now that you're in food and beverage, you're like, no, you know how much the orange juice costs? You can't do that.
Now I have to find creative solutions where, okay, signature drink, let's look at doing it this way if they need to do something different, and how I have to be a lot more problem solving. So my whole world is about problem solving right now on a daily basis. It's
totally.
how do I fix things?
I appreciate it because I always tout, we're not supposed to talk about ourselves, but it is my show. Is the diverse experience is a big thing. When I talk to some of the college classes and things like that, I always tell them what's the biggest thing? I said, the experience that I have because it's on the hotel side and almost everything except housekeeping. God love housekeepers because I couldn't do it.
It's housekeeping week.
Is it?
Yes. It's very important.
Tip your housekeepers, people. But, from that to third-party meeting planning, to the DMC world, to running a special event venue, to having your own company, the whole entire thing is like, there's different ways to look at it. And so that's why, like, when I am a planner now for somebody, I'll go into like, they want to do a signature drink. And they're like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, if we're working for a discount, I'll go like, go into your liquor room. And if you've got like 8 bottles of this stuff that no one ever wants, make me a drink with that. And we'll take that kind of thing. And some people get surprised because they're like, a lot of planners, no events, don't know that kind of piece of it. And you're like, I'm okay with that.
I appreciate that.
And
let me tell you,
it's helpful, stuff like that. So, but I mean, like the diverse areas, I think it's just an amazing thing as you've gone through so many different spaces and stuff, because it just helps you do everything in the hotel a little bit better.
I'm definitely stronger as a food and beverage director, having come from the catering and events side of it. Culinary still kicks me out of the kitchen, but I try to wiggle my way sometimes.
You don't need to be in the kitchen. Chef, kick her out. Kick her out. So then we get into like the easy questions. Then we get into like the really deep ones. Okay. What's your favorite thing about events?
Gosh, my favorite thing about events is the client and the reaction that they have to the room when they go in, when everything is set and pretty and ready to go. And they, it's my favorite thing. That's
my moment. People have heard me say it on the line before, is that my favorite moment is right before doors open. Everything's set and ready. Music's on. The lighting's where it's supposed to be. And the client has walked through and they love it. And it's just like that moment, like it's like crystal clear, like perfection. It's like, this is great.
Yep,
and then everybody comes in and messes it all up. People. But I love that. That's the same thing. Yeah. That's like my all-time favorite thing. Cause you've pictured it and you've talked about it sometimes for like years, and it's finally like happening.
And so it's there great. And they're so excited. Like it's just like, that's what fills my cup, is like that excitement, energy that comes at you. And
they just feed off of everything. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, look at that. And then like the food comes out and they're excited about that. And it's perfect. So now be real again. What's your least favorite thing about events? You'd be as surprised at some of the answers that I've gotten.
Well, my least favorite part.
And no one will hold it against you. And don't worry, everybody at the Hotel Valley Hill will still love you.
You're going to laugh. Is audiovisual. Because I suck at audiovisual. It's the most It is the most important part sometimes of an event or of a meeting. And if it goes wrong, you could have made the most beautiful experience.
Doesn't
the
matter.
food could be amazing, and it doesn't. It just doesn't.
You mean like a song playing and not being out really loud? It is the one of the biggest things that I'm so thankful of what I learned when I was at the venue Scottsdale, is because running that special event venue, we still did concerts. We still did like large speaking series and stuff like that. So it was heavy audiovisual, and there wasn't really anybody around. So it was just like, what do we do? And like, I had to work with people that we had on there. And so learning that side of it is an excellent thing. And actually there's some clients where that's all like there's 2 of them right now who call me. I think that's what they think I do. Cause they're like, we need production for this, a meeting. It's at this place. And I'm like, that's not what I do. But for some of them, like I'm like, the liaison helps, because some people just don't, there's too much technical jargon. There's too many changes all the time. And they're like, it's easier for them to do it. And then the couple of production companies that I work with love it, because they don't have to sit in on like the thousands of meetings and the Zoom calls and like all of the emails. I do that, and I'm kind of like the in between. So the client's like, this is what we want, blah, 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 blah. And I'll go to the production company like, well, this is what we can do. Like, well, we can change this for lighting and so on and so forth. And it happens, and everybody's just like, I don't have to do it all. So
that's why a meeting planner is so important.
Yay. She said the magic word. Amber gets her $20.
Yes.
You can take a drink now, actually.
Okay. Gladly.
But no, that's awesome. So that is, but it is scary, because it's like, it's an unknown thing, and it changes, and it could be just like a click of a microphone, and they turn around and look at you like it's your fault and you have to fix it. And that's another reason why I try and get so involved in production, just because like, I don't want to turn around and be like, I don't know what's happening. And you have to go to the production company and they'll be like, well, he's not holding the microphone close enough to him. I'm like, that's not the problem. It's not working. So now that, with the knowledge of learning it, you can be like, this is what's going on, kind of thing. So
knowledge is power. I just never got there.
That is so funny. And this is one of my favorite questions, and some people don't really get it, but it's what other areas of life inspire / affect / coexist with the food and beverage and hotel events? What's the inspiration stuff?
Oh my gosh, inspiration comes from everything. It comes from fashion, it comes from music, it comes from everyday life, it comes from magazines, it comes from gardening and flowers and decor. Events world pulls in everything around you and really kind of helps create that signature image that you're trying to portray about what do you love? An event for you, especially if it's a personal event.
Right.
Personal event, what do you love? Portray that to your guests and really help make that magic for them as well. And corporate events as well. That's how creativity comes about. Like, I love watching what you do with different events. I love watching other planners and seeing the designs that they come up with. And it just blows my mind at the creativity.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think the creativity goes towards corporate events as much as it should, because people don't see them as much. Like, you see online, like, everything social and everything, weddings and parties, gender reveals and everything else that happens like that. And it's just kind of like an insane part of it. But those of us inside the industry see some of the big build outs and some of the big cool things that happen at trade shows and conferences. And it's insane that, I get blown away sometimes, and I almost sit there like, I need to figure out how to do that. It's always the ones with like the big budgets and stuff. But
what was so fun is my mom and sister came to the NACE Experience Conference with me in July, and seeing it through their eyes was so, just gave me so much joy, because we see these things every day, right? We see the balloons along the ceiling and the cool things and the bands and everything that we do on a daily basis. And you almost get a little desensitized to it sometimes. And it was fun watching my mom and sister just big-eyed, looking at everything like, this is the coolest thing I've ever
because they're
seen.
not bombarded with it all the time.
Oh, it was so amazing.
I have to tell myself all the time when Lisa Foster was on, our dear friend, one of the wedding planners, she was talking about that, and I'm like, because she asked me like, why I still do a few weddings. I don't do that many as I used to, because I got desensitized, and to me, it's like the same thing over and over. Get it? Like, for me, like, I always try and push my clients not to do the same thing. Let's just kind of change this up. But it's good every once in a while to go to like the big conferences like that and kind of just take a step back and like appreciate, like, yes, we've seen balloon sculptures, but is there something new that's out there? And there usually is.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
it's in your like,
or how can I tweak this a little bit to make it more what'll fit with my
for sure.
Or my
well, your property is very mid-century modern, which, everybody is like, yay. Everybody knows it's my favorite. We've had a couple interior designers on it. I'll talk about that. So it's very fun. It's awesome. If you could tell the world something you think they need to know about hotel side of events, what would it be?
To me, it's be kind. Be kind to your staff. They work so hard, and we forget sometimes that when we're at an event and we're asking one person is asking for one person, another person is asking for something, another person is asking, and those servers are running their little booties off, just trying to take care of everyone and give the best experience. And I think if everyone just kind of breathe for a moment, you might not get it as fast as you want to, but know that they're hustling and they're moving and they're excited.
They're there to make they're there to make you and your guests happy. They're not doing something not to.
Right.
So just that, the be kind is like perfect advice for everybody in this world right now, but especially in events, because you just don't know what's going on. It could be something like, just like at a restaurant, it could be something in the kitchen. It could be something, with the server. It could be something with the runner. It could be something with like, just equipment that you don't know what's going on. They're trying to do something like for you. So I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. We're going to get into like the serious questions, because Amber can handle these. So I appreciate that. If you could change one thing about NACE, what would that be?
So this was a hard question for me, because I love NACE and I drank the Kool-Aid and I am all about NACE. But one thing that I would change is for everybody in the events industry to understand that we're not just for catering, or we're not just for hotel caterers, and that we're all about education. And for that, for people to think maybe that NACE is just somewhere that people go to have a good time and party, or we just drink, or
because y'all don't party and drink.
Or,
come on now.
Now we do, but we really don't. I would like to change that perspective about NACE, because for me, it's all about the education, the connections I've made. I mean, I met you through NACE, and you were on my board. You were phenomenal. We had a good time.
Excellent.
Come on. But, you know, it's, we go there, we have a good time, but there's also that education piece. And it's also, you know, the connections that you make and the business that you can build through your connections through NACE. And I have friends across the country now, which is phenomenal. Just
that's the biggest part, is that they're all national, and people need to remember that. It's interesting that that's still, I remember when I first started being involved with NACE, that was the big thing, is that it's still looked at as like, because it was the National Association, I think the name changed actually.
It did.
Because it used to be
National Association of Catering Executives. Yep.
And so you can see how like they would think of that. So, but I mean, it's changed because they want to change the persona and things like that. And it's not just any of the organizations. Some of them may like focus a little bit more, you know, HSMAI is, you know, marketing, things like that. But a lot of people are of that thing, like NACE, with NACE and ILEA and stuff like that. The organizations are incredibly important, but I want to ask if you've noticed there seems to be, and we realize that, you know, like the pandemic had like crazy effects on everything. So I understand that. Have you noticed, because I kind of still reach out and things like that. There's a lot of organizations that are hurting a little bit for members. And I didn't know we had some time. So we can talk about this. It's an interesting thing to look at, because I was involved with NACE and ILEA. I was on the board with SITE, PCMA, I don't know, MPI, like a ton of them. And it was a lot, and it's a lot to try and get involved with all of them. So I suggest everybody to kind of like, you know, play around and like choose one or two in the beginning to kind of be involved in, because it's a lot. It's a lot of stress to go like, here's another meeting, things you have to do. But a lot of them, and especially locally, like there are chapters in, you know, different cities. Like you'll go to a city and like NACE is huge, and like ILEA was tiny, but you go to a different city and ILEA is huge and NACE was like not that big. And then like, you know, MPI was like huge. It's interesting, but in Arizona, I see like, it's still like troubling. I didn't know if you had noticed that. And like, I don't know if you like discussed it. I hear it a lot when I travel. We just went to like the Canadian meetings, industry. I went to Connect Marketplace and things like that. And it's a thing here in Arizona. I just don't know what to think about it.
You know, I feel like, of course, pandemic, COVID, heaven help us, really kind of shook all of us. And a lot of people in our industry went to do something else, which was interesting to me. And we're getting what I'm seeing is we're getting a lot of younger people, or maybe not as experienced people coming into
young.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm young. I'm really young.
Still young.
Oh, I didn't.
You don't have any gray hair. Whatever.
Fine. That's what the dye is for. But, you know, we're getting a little more younger. And what I would love to reach out to everybody is say, if you're green in this industry, come to an association, because whatever one you feel most comfortable with, that's where you're going to get knowledge, and that's where you're going to build connections. And that's where not only you're going to grow your business, but you're going to grow yourself as a brand and as what you want to do, because of the people, like us, who have been in the industry for a minute, that long, for a minute.
TikTok.
We have some knowledge to give, and I'm always willing to mentor and to help elevate people to that next level. It's one of the perks of being where I'm at right now and doing what I've done. And, you know, it is frustrating right now that we are not at the numbers where we once were, but I know that that's going to take a minute to grow back. You know, it went from having nothing to everyone getting crazy busy. Mm-hmm. So then they didn't have time for an association. And then I feel like it's starting to like plateau out a little bit. This was probably the first summer, at least for us at Valley Ho, where it was like a true summer, a little bit slower. So I think we're starting to get to that good rhythm again, to where we can
get back
continue to grow and gain more members.
So some people may say, and nobody in this room, of course, that the industry organizations at times focus on what they're supposed to be doing instead of what they should be doing. Let me elaborate what some of these people say. is when you're an organization, there are certain things that you have to do. You have to have a certain amount of educational monthly meeting. You have to do certain things with your membership. You have to provide certain things like this. And that's very important. But I think what the pandemic showed us is that sometimes if that's not working for the membership, you need to focus on maybe what you should be doing. And maybe that should be some different kinds of support. Or, we don't have to have like a 3-hour meeting that's like follow this exact pattern, so on and so forth. And I think sometimes the inflexibility of some of the organizations hurt the membership.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that.
And but it's also extremely difficult because you can't please everybody. There's no way. There's always going to be, and sometimes there's people out there who will always have a comment. We know them.
Always.
They're still around. But it's an incredibly hard balance. So I still have all the respect in the world for people who actually go through that and balance it, because it's a lot. It's not just like a meeting once a month. It's like you still have to support all this and create all this. So the people who do that are incredible. I'm just trying to figure out sometimes, because I want to see the industry organizations like bloom. I want everybody to be involved. And the more that I hear that people aren't, I'm like, we need to figure out get them back in there. I think it is because of the pandemic and the business was just, there.
It just went a little.
So many people went into mortgage lending and just all this stuff, real estate.
The senior homes.
Oh, that's
so
true.
So many people went to the senior homes.
That's true, actually.
Right?
Isn't that interesting? I never thought about that.
It was very interesting to me.
But they were still there and hiring, I think. So that's interesting. So it's difficult. So I know it's a hard balance. And I just wanted to talk about that because you are heavily involved and heavily respected in the world. So what you do for that. Oh, it's true.
So we definitely, that is a conversation that the board has all the time. How are we looking at membership? How are we looking at chapters? How are we looking at what are our parameters around chapters? And, we have smaller chapters. We have an Alaska chapter. We have a Hawaii chapter, which are a little bit smaller. And
Palm Springs.
Smaller chapter. They're a smaller chapter, but they're thriving.
Oh, yeah.
Thriving.
Well, because we're good
Love
people.
It. Yes. But, looking at, okay, what is the parameters? And from, when you were on the board, I think we had to have 10 educational meetings through the year. We had to have, it was a lot stricter back then. So we've definitely pulled that back to where 6 is our.
You have to have that because
now, and you have to have that balance.
You have to have the education, simply because otherwise it's just like they're going to get together and party, like you said.
Right.
And that's important. And trying to balance, I can't imagine trying to balance all the different chapters, because the chapter in Chicago is going to be different from Phoenix,
so different. Yep.
New Orleans, which is different from Seattle. They're all different, and so it's very hard. So it's a good.
Yeah, it's really about connecting with that chapter and what's working for you, what's not working for you. That's why it's so important. We do a leadership conference in January to kind of kick off the year and have all the chapters come to that. And sorry, you.
No, that's perfect. I was going to say so we're going to have you back and dive more into this.
Okay, I love that.
Because that's a whole thing. I would love to, because there's ways for that. I have a ton more questions, but we're going to run out of time in just a little bit. I want to talk about a couple of things. One, the very exciting part. But first of all, because I know you went through something and we all came to your side and to your rescue because we believed in it. So I just wanted to talk about not that specific incident because they just make me mad. But has the world as it is being so polarized affected events on the hotel side?
That is so funny, because that incident is exactly what came to my mind when I was thinking about that question is, it really is. We have to do our due diligence as hotels, as event planners, as meeting planners, to really understand what groups we're bringing into our properties and what groups we're working with, and how do we make sure that we create the best experience for them, whereas also creating the best experience for the hotel and for our guests and for our staff, and making sure our staff is safe is the most important thing to me. So it really is a learning lesson for a lot of people out there, that you really have to do your due diligence. You have to look at what group you're bringing in, research them, research. I didn't learn that until many years into the industry, that when you are booking a group, Google them. Everything's out there for you to see.
Right.
And figure out, ask the questions, ask those probing questions about what type of an event are you having? What is this? What are you doing this for? What is your, losing my words, but what is your main topic that you're trying to accomplish with this event? So that, if you don't ask those probing questions, then you could get blindsided like our property did and potentially get into a serious situation that you have to deal with.
Well, and it's unfortunate because something like that really has nothing to do with a hotel. It's just the polarization of people's feelings and thoughts and directions that they go in, and it affects everything that goes on. And like, there's really large areas that go through the hotel, and it's so mixed. It's like a crazy different area, things like that. So there's just things that you. And knowing that you went through that and handled it with the utmost like class, and I love seeing the community that came around the hotel. I was like, just need to relax. And it wasn't just because of like the one belief. Like I've never like shut down anybody's belief, whatever. But it's just like you're in an arena that has lots of people. Mm-hmm. So your one can't, whether it's mine or with somebody else's. It's like it just can't do that, and it shouldn't have to affect it. And I know that it has in hotels and. It's interesting to watch and see because you hear some stories and it's like, can you just be kind?
Be kind. Just be kind.
That's the easiest thing.
Just be kind.
Before I ask about the Zuzu dinners, because they're amazing, I love those. We need to get into like some of like the tea of things. So you need to talk about some of the really cool people who've been to the hotel, because the Hotel Valley Ho is historic. Is it not? So it was opened when?
1956.
1956. If you haven't been there, it's right on the corner of Indian School and
69th Street.
69th Street. I absolutely love it, obviously, because it's very has a retro feel, mid-century modern. The rooms are insane and incredible.
I would say the property is a little surprise and delight. It looks a little unassuming on the outside, and then once you walk in, it's like lush and green.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the sign that you guys changed. But besides that, I absolutely love everything about the hotel. The rooftop is amazing. People don't know that's up there sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
The people who have been there.
Crickets. Oh, the people that have been there, right?
Yes, we have a great hall of history up on our second floor.
Oh, that's right.
At Hotel Valley Ho. I love it. So we had like Jimmy Durante playing piano in the lobby. Oh my God. We've had Jaja Gabor take pictures with our original owners. Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner had one of their weddings with us. I can't tell you which one, but one of them. So we've we have a great history. And of course, Phoenix brings in some high profile events. So we've definitely had some bigger celebrities come in.
Throw some names down. You can do that. It's good.
We had Katy Perry playing at our pool. Snoop Dogg did stay with us. We did have to pop popcorn in the lobby just to, get rid of the scent of some certain things that he maybe been partaking in.
I love that man. He's so awesome.
Yeah, so we've had some fun people come through.
And you have a really cool, like different kinds of rooms, because you have like those are original, like on the first floor,
yes,
correct?
The first floor is original. The tower was built, current owners took over and found the permit from back in 1956. We still have the permit. So it was really cool.
It's awesome. The hotel, it's a great feel. Like even just to go in for like brunch, people don't know, like you have like the beautiful patio, all like Mother's Day and all the different holidays stuff you guys do like many different things like that. And so we will close out with are you still doing the Zuzu dinners, like the chef dinners, or no?
We definitely do chef dinners. We just finished our summer series, and our summer series was probably the favorite thing that I've ever done with the hotel. It used to be our chef and farmers market, and we've kind of grown it more to be a chef-focused dinner. So our first dinner, we had Lindsay Autry, who is an absolutely amazing chef, and she was phenomenal. Our second dinner, we had Robert Irvine come in.
I met him.
He is so nice and kind.
Gosh, so nice.
And
the funny thing is, though, because I tell everybody this, because living in LA, but everybody who's famous is short. He's a lot shorter than I thought.
He's a little bit shorter. Maybe just a titch taller than me.
He's still huge. He's still huge. But you see him on all the cooking shows, because I'm obsessed. I watch cooking shows at least like 2 or 3 times a day. And he towers over some of these people. So I'm like, either they gave him a box or everybody else is like really short. I don't know, Robert, but it's like, he was like the nicest guy, but I think that's awesome.
And he tells the best stories. He just really tells. And the military is very important to me, especially Marines with my nephew.
Absolutely.
And his charity is all about veterans and really helping out with that. So definitely bonded with that. And our last dinner, we had Chef Bo Mack, who is phenomenal.
Oh,
And Cheeto.
he's local. I mean,
he is
Bo's local. Yeah.
Bo is local, and Cheeto has Bacanora.
Oh, that's right.
Is his restaurant. So Chef Cheeto.
Okay. Sorry. That's
Moving
right.
on. And then my chef, thank you. Don't tell Chef Cheeto I said that.
No, that's okay.
And then my chef, Chef Russell, came together and did one dinner. They all used to work together at Sanctuary. So it was really fun to see, the
that's really
growth
cool.
of the chefs
Yeah.
from Sanctuary and where they've gone in their careers. And they're just so talented.
It's phenomenal. Well, because it's when I love to name drop because we can do that. When I was having a conversation with, now I can't remember. Can't even drop a name right. Scott Conant.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to an event in Palm Springs, of course, and he was there, and we were just randomly ended up like in a corner, like talking and about the food scene in Phoenix, which is much more of a food scene than people give it credit for because it gets a casual vibe that doesn't get the credit for. But we've got a lot of celebrity chefs. We've got amazing chefs that maybe aren't celebrities, but the food is incredible. So I encourage people to go out there. And when they do, obviously go to Hotel Valley Ho.
We're actually doing a dinner with him. He's part of a dinner that we're doing with Aaron Sanchez on October 8th.
I'm assuming it's spicy.
It's going to be spicy. It's
the little elbows that she
Yeah.
did, the little shoulders that she gave me. Amber, thank you so much for coming in. It was so much fun. We got real and we had some fun and talked about the industry. And I will have you back. We're actually going to start having like a panel series where we've got somebody from a hotel, we've got like a vendor supplier, like a planner, and just kind of have like a lot of fun. And I'd love for you to pass on because I'm trying to get a few chefs on the podcast.
I might be able to help you out with that one.
I would, and he knows I love him. So that would be great, actually, if we can do that. So I want to say thank you to Amber Allen, who's Director of Food and Beverage at the Hotel Valley Ho in Scottsdale. If you haven't been to the hotel, I don't know where you've been, but you should definitely go have a drink, have brunch, definitely stay for like the weekend if you're local. It's a beautiful thing, and you're a wonderful, beautiful person. I so appreciate you like taking time off.
I love you dearly.
And
thank you for having
I
me.
appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun. And everybody, always thank you so much for tuning into Twigger Time. We always have a good time where we talk about special events and beyond and everything that kind of floats around there. And we're always here to do that. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcast and Amazon and iHeartRadio and pretty much everywhere you find podcasts. And you can also watch some of the clips, although I don't like the angle where the video comes in, on our YouTube channel. And you can always find me at Vermilion Events or davidtwigger.com as well. And we will have you guys back to have more fun, and we'll talk to you real soon. Thanks so much.